I had to go to a public hospital, and the doctor ended up misdiagnosing me at the point where I started dealing with my PCOS symptoms. He thought, okay, you've been dealing with the PCOS symptoms, maybe not now, you're not ovulating.
We ended up conceiving after our third IVF, and back here in South Africa, we moved back. And we lost the pregnancy at 24 weeks due to chromosomal abnormalities.
You know, there was a year where I'd actually gone for my periods for like a whole year, but it wasn't an issue. I didn't have a boyfriend. I didn't have issues.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Infertility and Me podcast. My name is Matshepo Sekgole, aka Tepi Infertility Warrior, and I will be your host for this episode. I am not alone. I am joined by my esteemed colleagues. You guys mind introducing yourselves?
My name's Saskia Williams.
Hi, my name is Mpochaba.
Thank you so much, ladies. And we are the host of the podcast. So this podcast is not meant just for us, but it is meant for you and the world at large so that you can understand better about infertility, its emotional, physiological, social, and medical impact on the world at large. And today we'll be sharing our personal stories as well as what medical experts say about the condition and your lived experience of infertility. So before we start talking about our lived experiences of infertility, we want to just explain what infertility is as a condition. I think, Saskia, maybe you can take us through that a little bit.
Yeah, I'd love to. Infertility is a disease as recognized by the World Health Organization, disease of the reproductive system. And it's classified as infertile if you've tried to conceive for 12 months if you're under 35, or 6 months if you're over 35. If you've battled and you can't conceive within that time, you're having unprotected sex, then you are classed as infertile.
Hectic. It's amazing how many people in the world are actually affected by this. I think I read a stat once that said 1 in every 4 couples will actually battle to conceive.
So the global stat is 1 in 6, but across Southern Africa, it's
really
it's
sad.
actually 1 in 4. More than 15% of South Africans will struggle with infertility at some point in their life, whether it's primary infertility or secondary infertility.
That's heartbreaking.
It is extremely heartbreaking. You know, to think of it, I'm one of the 4.
Yes.
It's every 4th person that you know, imagine.
Yes, every 4th person that you know.
Well, I remember the first year that I got diagnosed with an infertility condition, and I was never ready because I never even understood what infertility was. I got married very young, and like with most young newlyweds, the first thing that you want to do is jump straight to making babies, make sure that you guys are fine. And when that didn't happen, I got extremely worried that, you know, my body is failing to do what fundamentally any woman is supposed to or be able to do. And it's not until I went to a gynecologist that I eventually finally got diagnosed with polycystic ovarian syndrome. And for somebody who doesn't understand what polycystic ovarian syndrome is, it's more of a hormonal condition that as a result of cysts growing around your ovaries. And I didn't realize that it was the reason that was causing my hormones to be all over the place, my body to not speak to each other, because the hormones are what speak, different organs speaking to each other. And my body weight going up and down. I actually didn't realize that all of those symptoms that I was exhibiting were as a result of this condition. And it was heartbreaking to know that I first had to deal with the PCOS symptoms before I could even talk about trying to have a baby. And not only for the health reasons, but obviously with the intention of trying to conceive. And sure, it's truly what happened after was not nice because in South Africa we live in a country where healthcare is not easily accessible, and at the time we didn't have healthcare. I had to go to a public hospital, and the doctor ended up misdiagnosing me at the point where I started dealing with my PCOS symptoms. He thought, okay, you've been dealing with the PCOS symptoms, maybe not now, you're not ovulating. and he gave me medication to now fasten the ovulation without realizing that no, actually her tubes are blocked. And I had a pregnancy in my tubes,
Ectopic, eh?
which was not nice. It truly wasn't nice, but I had to undergo the ectopic pregnancy and then the medical emergency where they had to now terminate my pregnancy. And that's, I think, where the beginning of my infertility journey officially began, because then I started understanding the full sense of the grief, the sense of the loss associated with losing a baby, having tried so hard, what it means to feel like a parent and not be able to leave the hospital with the baby. It was truly heartbreaking, and it changed quite a lot in me emotionally and spiritually and physically, but also in my family, in my marriage as well. So I don't know if you had a similar experience.
So yeah, I mean, we spent all of our 20s or trying not to get pregnant, right? That's what we learn at school. And our parents teach us not to, you don't, that's the last thing we want is if you come home pregnant. So we spend all of our time like trying not to get pregnant. Then you get married and you decide this is great and you think it's going to happen quickly because I've been actively stopping myself from getting pregnant for the last 10 years. And now I'm ready. I'm married. I found the man of my dreams. We got married. And now we're ready to have a baby, and it's going to happen quickly. So I got married. I was turning 27, I think, the month after we got married. And so we decided straight away to start trying. And we were living in England at the time. And I remember after a few months, I was like, what's going on? I'm 27 years old. I'm young. I'm healthy.
It should happen.
Yes. So I went to the doctor, and the doctor was like, no, sorry, you have to try for 2 years. This is now England back 20, a long time ago. But we had to try 2 years before they refer you to a fertility specialist. And I'd only been trying for like a few months, but like, I'm quite an A-type personality. So I was like, no, but I'm sure something's wrong because, So I found a woman GP, a lady GP, and I went to see her. And I said to her, listen, I think, and she said, no, okay, I'm not going to make you wait for 2 years. And by then you're going to be nearly 30. I'll refer you to the clinic. And it turned out we had male factor infertility. So, I mean, we could have tried for the 2 years and nothing would have happened. I mean, come now. So we had a cycle then, but in the UK, it's different. They kind of do what your age says, right? So they put you on the drugs for your age. They put you on the things that everybody your age should be on. Don't tailor it accordingly. So we only got one embryo. I mean, at this stage, we were still 28 maybe. We only got one embryo, and it was an unsuccessful cycle. And it was super disappointing because you put your trust in science, right? That's the thing you're changing. This is going to fix my issue.
True.
And then you have one perfect embryo, it only takes one. So it actually was a real heartbreak after that. And I didn't realize that it was going to be. It was like this dash of hope. And then you're like, now that doesn't even work for us.
Yeah.
What now? And why did we only get one embryo at 28 years old?
Sure.
But anyway, we'll go further into stories, I think, further on in our episodes. But we ended up conceiving after our third IVF, and back here in South Africa, we moved back. And we lost the pregnancy at 24 weeks due to chromosomal abnormalities. Sure. We'll do an episode where we talk, I think, about
pregnancy loss. Yeah.
About pregnancy loss and our stories. And then we completed our family through adoption. Our son is now 12, going on 17. All the attitude of it. Oh my goodness. So it took us 7 years, and it was a 7-year journey in total before we had our family.
It's actually quite amazing that we have people just like you who go on 10, 15 years.
Well, I've had 10 years of trying.
Imagine.
I'm one of those.
Tell us more, Paul.
Sure.
So, wow, hey? I think just like many other people, your period starts disappearing while you're a little bit younger. Yeah. But it's not an issue, man, because I don't get to have a period. Why not?
But sometimes it gets scary, though.
Because it's like, if you don't have a boyfriend...
I know I didn't do anything, but why am I not getting my period? And I'm 15 years old.
So I actually started a little bit late. I think I was 12 or 13. Majority of the girls at school had already started their period.
Yeah.
And I was a little bit late. And when I did start, I actually went for a day. I was so disappointed because I was looking forward to it.
Yeah.
And the next month, I didn't see a period. But they said, no, when you start, you don't see your period every month. So I thought that was in generally normal.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that carried on for quite a while. You know, there was a year where I'd actually gone for my periods for like a whole year, but it wasn't an issue. I didn't have a boyfriend. I didn't have issues. I was not having a period. I was having a blast, man.
You're having fun being young.
And then when I was 25, I met my husband. When I first started working, I actually went to see a gynecologist just before I met him. And the gynecologist actually didn't explain well to me that I had PCOS.
Yeah.
But what he wanted to do was send me for a procedure to drill on my ovaries.
Imagine.
And I thought, this is extensive.
Yeah.
You know, I was 24 and he wasn't
Yeah.
giving me proper information. But he wanted to take me for a surgery. So I opted out for a no. I think I'm okay with not seeing my period all the time. Okay, I'll figure it out as I go. And then I met my husband, and obviously we were hoping that it happens immediately, and it didn't. I think 2 years later, once we've settled down a little bit, I thought, okay, fine, let me go see the next gynecologist. So I go and I see the next gynecologist, okay? And then they said, no, we're going to put you on the contraceptive pill. And they're not giving me a diagnosis here. So I got a diagnosis the first time. Now I'm not getting a diagnosis. I've got you've got like hormonal imbalance.
Yeah.
Okay? I'm put on the pill. When I'm on the pill, I have a period.
Sure. Shocker.
Okay.
I know. When I'm off the pill, I don't have a period.
Regulating your
It is so weird. I would think to myself, but what's going on? And apparently you are supposed to try and get pregnant, but you can't get pregnant while you're on the pill. Right, so they will put me on the pill, give me Clomid, and then I'll drink it. You know, we had to schedule sex, to try and get pregnant. And it still didn't work.
Man.
And I changed gynaes for quite a while. For a very long time. Whenever I thought about the pregnancy, because sometimes, you make peace with it and you forget a little bit about it. And then a year or two later, you think, oh no, but let me revisit that. And then you go see a gynae. And then the next gynae gives you contraceptives. Oh my gosh, it was just a nightmare. And in 2022, I decided, you know what? I think I want to give it my all.
Yeah.
I'm going to actually follow the process. But I didn't know much about a fertility specialist. So then I went to the gynae. The gynae suggested to do, I must go do an HSG, but I don't want to do an HSG.
I heard that's actually quite painful.
People say it's very painful.
It is painful.
I didn't want to feel pain. So I opted for the laparoscopy. So I did that instead. And then they also discovered that I have endometriosis. So I now had PCOS and endometriosis.
That is.
Okay. So he said, okay, no, it's fine. He did the drilling that the initial gynae initially wanted to do. So he did that. But I still didn't get my period after that. That didn't work. So I actually resulted in trying something a friend had suggested in 2020. I took some yoni stuff and I started drinking those. I think we should have had one of the episodes. Yeah. So I started drinking those. They actually helped me to just have a regular period.
Okay.
Sure.
I drank them for 3 months, and going on from there, I started having a normal period. I didn't have to keep drinking them. And then one day my period was not there. It was weird. Because I thought, my body's being funny again. Yeah. We are starting the disappearing again. Yeah. But it wasn't. There was a baby. Oh, that was so nice. It was so exciting. 10 years later, I remember I did a reveal for my parents. That's how excited I was. But nobody prepares you for pregnancy loss, eh?
No.
So I lost my pregnancy at 25 weeks. I had an infection. It ruptured. And then 3 days later, my placenta ruptured. And then that's how I lost my first baby. Oh, that was so sad.
Yeah.
Imagine.
You know, if you stayed for 10 years, we waited for 10 years. It's a very long time. But I feel so blessed though at the same time that I got an opportunity to be a mom. I'm
Yeah.
someone's mom. Like you said, I couldn't take the baby home, but I am someone's mom.
You are.
You are.
You know, and I got the pregnancy experience. I'm sorry you didn't get the full pregnancy experience,
Yeah.
but it's exciting.
Yeah. It is.
Yeah, and then from there on, we tried to get pregnant, and then my period started disappearing again. And then I decided, you know what, when I turn 36, I want to go see a fertility specialist. So me and my husband went, we printed out all the results we had from previously because I really did not want to test again.
You want to be ready.
Yeah.
You
for
know,
this.
so I
Yeah.
printed everything.
Yeah.
And then we rocked up to this man and we said, this is our problem. This is our issue. And then he looks at it and he says, doesn't look like you guys can get pregnant on your own. And we thought, oh, okay. You need help. And we thought, oh, no, we've come to the right place.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And then he puts me on the pill. And then I drink the pill. Right. Remember when I drink the pill, I go on my periods.
Yes.
I didn't get a period. A week later, I was really sick. I didn't know what was wrong. It was weird. My husband told me to do a pregnancy test. It came out positive.
Oh my God.
I know. It's crazy,
What are
isn't
the
it?
odds?
Yeah, we were like
Amazing.
almost 7 weeks pregnant and I didn't know it.
Oh my God.
And going from there on, 2 weeks later, we actually had a missed miscarriage.
Oh.
So that's pregnancy loss number 2. That on its own was hard. It's really, really hard because now this means we have to start all over again.
Yeah.
So it is a pregnancy is difficult, is hard. Infertility in general is extremely hard because nobody prepares you for, are you going to carry the pregnancy full
Yeah.
term?
Yeah, that's true. I think from just our lived experiences of, you know, pregnancy loss, infertility, some of the other underlying conditions you mentioned, endometriosis, I spoke a little bit about PCOS. It's becoming evident that the foundations of some of the things that are undiagnosed can lead to an infertility journey. And it's because so many people, not just in South Africa, but in the world at
Yeah.
large, don't know about these things until you go into the doctor's room. And that's why we're having platforms like this or conversations like this.
Yes.
And I want to take just a small segment from our reproductive health expert to explain a little bit more about what infertility is and some of the conditions that you need to look out for that can lead to you struggling to conceive.
Good afternoon, this is Dr. Helen from Cape Fertility. I would like to speak to all of you about what is infertility. So infertility is a very common problem. It can affect up to 15% of all couples. That's 1 in 7, so it's actually not rare and it happens to a lot of people. And I'm sure if you look around you, then you see many couples that are affected with the problem of infertility. We're speaking about infertility if you've been trying to conceive for at least 1 year. So if nothing happens after 1 year of unprotected intercourse, that's by definition infertility. But there's a difference between infertility, sterility, and subfertility. So actually it's not an absolute thing because infertility normally means that there is only a reduced chance of conceiving. It doesn't mean that it's impossible. It's only impossible when, for instance, both tubes are blocked or when there is no sperm. But in the majority of the cases, there is still a chance of conceiving. And the cause of infertility can be very different. It can be contributed to a male factor or a female factor. So if a couple comes to us, it's always very important to do a full exploration and looking at all the factors. The sperm count to see how the uterus is, the fallopian tubes, and the ovulation. The most common female causes are polycystic ovaries, I'm sure you've heard about that, endometriosis, blocked fallopian tubes, and fibroids. But fortunately, these days, with all the new techniques that we have, we can help a lot of couples. Infertility is in nearly all cases a medical problem, so it's not because you are too stressed or something like that, but because there is an underlying medical disease. And therefore, it's always a good idea to see a fertility doctor who can help you with this. I hope that this helps. You take care. Bye-bye.
That was such an insightful information from our expert. And like he mentioned, there are so many other underlying reproductive health disorders that can lead to infertility. For example, I was diagnosed with polycystic ovarian syndrome. And like I mentioned in the beginning, it is a condition of the ovaries where cysts start to grow around the ovaries, and it can amalgamate into so many other symptoms that I've had to experience myself. For example, the insulin resistance. So this is when your body is unable to control or manage the level of sugar in your body, which can lead to a whole other range of other conditions. Like I've struggled quite a lot with being able to manage my weight. Weight goes up and down and up and down. And there's also been a little bit of facial hairs. People don't know that I pluck from time to
Yes,
time.
people don't get that, and it's so hard.
It is.
It is so hard.
You know, but there's women out there who have worse experience of PCOS where they grow a full beard because of the PCOS and the level that the PCOS is. I've also had very aggressive periods where my periods are extremely painful, and especially just before I get my period. So my PMS symptoms are
Off the charts. Yeah.
like
What about the acne?
already?
Oh,
You can see it on my face. I was so
We're supposed
afraid
to grow out of it, right?
Yeah, you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I thought as I got into
Older,
my 30s, it
yeah.
would get better, but it feels like
Yes.
it's just getting worse and worse. Even I hate having to put makeup on because I feel like it even makes it worse. Like
Yeah.
you just see the hormonal acne just, being so aggravated, And there's so many more symptoms that other people go through, but those for me were the most prevalent that I was
think for me it's a similar experience.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the hair, the facial hair. Everyone likes to say, "Oh, your hair looks so nice." Yeah, my hair looks nice, but I've got hair growing all over the place.
It doesn't look nice in the other places.
No, it
Oh,
doesn't.
man.
It doesn't. It doesn't. I actually go to the gym and I exercise a lot, but it's difficult to lose weight. It's really difficult. And I find that a lot of gynaes will say, no, you should try and lose weight.
Yes.
as if it's just that easy.
As if you're not even
exactly.
trying.
That's it.
Yeah, I know it's hard. It's really, really hard. But the painful period, my experience, because I have PCOS and endometriosis.
Yeah.
But my endometriosis is not so severe as other people. But the period pains are hectic.
Sure.
It's so painful. But as the years went by, I think after I had my first baby, it got a little bit better. But it was actually very uncomfortable, very painful. It was actually the first signs I would feel that I'm going to have a period.
Yeah.
Even when the period doesn't come when it's supposed to, I would feel the pain. And it's really, really painful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You live on paracetamols all the time. It's
Yeah.
Nurofen,
It's very
whatever it
debilitating.
is, It's
Endometriosis and that pain that people go through is very debilitating. Like affects every aspect of life, and when it doesn't, that attaches to other organs as well, and they have to live on chronic meds. It's terrible. And then you have the laparoscopy, take it out, and then it just starts growing back.
Again.
I mean,
Yes, it does. And that's the sad part about it, because it does grow back.
yeah, it's not cured, right? And then also, I mean, fibroids and tubal factors and stuff, which the doctor talked about, and also male factor infertility. We can't ignore the fact that 40% of the cases of infertility are male, 40% female, 40% male, and 20% combined. So it's, if there are people out there that think it's the woman's fault all the time, it's not.
no. It
We
really
know
is.
this, right? We just want everybody else to know that, because it's not your fault. It's a couple problem, and you need
is a
to go
couple
with your wife or your partner to the
get
fertility specialist to also get tested.
Yes.
Because like with us, if I just thought it was me and we'd carried on trying for 2 years and I had regulated my periods or whatever, we still wouldn't have conceived.
Yeah.
Very true.
Very true.
Right? So yeah, everybody
It's
needs to be
amazing how 90% of the time in our family structures and in our communities, it's actually seen that way. the way that it actually isn't. The facts prove that 30% will be female factor issues, or 30%, but combined will be 40, shows you that it's actually a joint venture. We need to collaborate. It's a family couple problem.
Yeah.
It's not a woman's
Not
problem.
down to the woman.
Yes, it's not a woman problem. It's a us problem.
So true.
Yes.
And it's a lot of times where you'll see that I'll be speaking to some friends and they'll tell me, no, the man doesn't want to get tested.
Yeah.
Yes.
But how are we supposed to find solutions?
Man,
It's sad, isn't it?
that is so heartbreaking.
Yeah.
I actually have a very close friend of mine who's going through that. And because of the impact of that decision, she's now going into the mental space, gone through depression now, because she doesn't know what to do in that space with a partner who's that ignorant about getting tested,
Yeah.
but also not supporting her needs in that way, that it's literally pushing the problem to her. Whereas chances are you could be the problem.
You could
Yeah.
potentially
You
be
could
the
potentially
problem.
be the problem.
And the
But because-
problem could be minor, you know that. It could be
Yes.
just a pill could be the solution.
But he feels so
Yes.
emasculated by it. Like it's just, it has nothing to
Yeah,
do with
that's
your
the-
identity. That's what we try to do most of the time when we talk about the condition in our advocacy spaces, is that it's not your identity.
No.
If anything, you can make your fertility journey a part of who you are, but it doesn't define you and stand in the front of who you are. So
And
it's been such a hard.
It's a disease. I mean, people aren't ashamed of having other diseases. So why are they ashamed of having infertility? But definitely with men, it's very much less spoken about, right? So they talk about if they've got friends with babies and whatever, and if they feel like they aren't able to give their wife the same as what their friends can, they feel very, they're going inside, they don't want to talk about it to anybody. And then you get these shining stars that just advocate for male infertility. And it's so amazing how they stand up and they go on radio and they just
God bless those men.
I know.
Yes, I
love
agree.
those men.
I know.
It's
Imagine
wonderful,
the
isn't
difference.
it? Yeah.
Listen, we make a difference when we talk about with the women listening, but
Yes.
one man standing up and talking about
It's a big
infertility
deal.
makes a huge difference to
Sure.
the men out there.
Oh man.
So we need to just remember, we need to also be supportive of our husbands, and if they don't want to do that in a cup thing, which I understand, but they also need to understand how much of ourselves we also have to, put out there when we have to go to all of the appointments. And so it can just be a small thing, like you said, Paul. A friend of mine, her husband had like zero sperm count, like zero, but it was the testosterone level. So he went on medication for 3 months, 6 months, clomidine, I think it was. And now the count's back up and workable.
See,
So you go from having no hope, and if they had just carried on trying to conceive,
it wouldn't have happened.
it wouldn't have happened, right?
Yeah.
But yet 3 months later, they now got a 50% chance of conceiving naturally, and then if they carry on, maybe it'll get higher. So a fertility specialist doesn't mean IVF.
Yes, definitely, you are correct. A lot of people think when I go see a fertility specialist, it means I'm going to do IUI, I'm going to do IVF.
Yeah.
That's not always the solution. And my PCOS is different from Tepi's PCOS.
Yes.
See, and a lot of people don't understand that. Yes, we might have the same diagnosis, but some of the symptoms are different, and how our body responds
Yes.
is very different. And the solution to our problem is very different.
Yes.
I
So when those groups, when you see on those groups that people say what works for your PCOS, and they just say, I take such and such, you should try such and such. And I'm just thinking, please go and check with your doctor which one would be best for you, because now you're going to spend money and months taking something that works for somebody else
And might not work for you.
not work
Yeah.
for you. Yeah.
I think it then comes down to understanding from a personal level what are the structural deficiencies and what are the more chemical deficiencies. Because if you can mitigate the chemical aspect and, get your hormones right, with the weight loss, your hormones also get in check. But then there's the structural ones that can lead then to procedures like your IUIs, your XCs, your IVF, are some of the things that I hope that we can be able to delve into, as we have more of these conversations, to educate somebody like you and me that you don't always need to assume that a fertility issue is IVF straight.
Yes.
Yes,
True,
IVF
very
has
true.
helped quite a lot of people's families and women and men be able to conceive, but there are so many other ways of being able to effectively and cost effectively
Get
be able to
pregnant.
Yes.
conceive. So I want to read a letter from one of our followers who is an infertility patient and just like ourselves, and unpack a little bit and advise her on the best way to be able to overcome where she is on her infertility journey. So we just got a letter from an anonymous. She is one of our supporters and our followers of our movement, and she is part of our support group as well. And she wants some advice from us in terms of how to tackle a very challenging aspect of her marriage and her fertility journey. She reads or she sends the message and says, "Hi Tippy, my name is so and so. Everybody will be so and so because we can't reveal people's names.
It's true. Very true.
Fertility journeys are personal.
They are.
I am 34 years old. I'm from South Africa and I'm struggling to conceive. Like I said, I've been married to my husband for 4 years and we've been battling to conceive since the inception of our marriage. And I've tried all manner of medications, treatments. I've even seen prophets and sangomas to try and mitigate
Sure.
fertility issue. And with no luck, I've not gotten pregnant even once. My husband has slowly grown impatient with where my journey is, and he blames me for why we can't have children. And as a result of that, he has now considered getting a second wife due to the pressures from his family.
Sure.
I have lost all hope. I don't know where to begin, and I have just allowed him to continue with what he wants to do. Now that he's preparing to pay lobola for the second wife, I am experiencing symptoms that I am suspicious maybe of pregnancy. I am afraid to disclose or check whether or not I'm pregnant because of the fear of the loss. But now that my husband is preparing to marry another woman, I don't even know if I should tell him. What should I do?
Sure.
It's a lot.
A
hey?
lot. Wow.
This is
It's
hard.
a lot.
This is hard.
And it's not unusual for them looking for other wives outside of the marriage.
Yes.
Without even checking if
What if he's the
if
problem?
he's the problem.
Yes.
My goodness.
Or it could be what Mpo was saying about the fact that maybe their bodies were not in the right space.
Yes.
That now,
Yes.
because of maybe getting older, her body's catching up with her now. That's why she could be be able to conceive now, and he was just not patient enough with the process.
Also, what I've noticed is that sometimes we are so focused on the infertility. We want the pregnancy so bad. Then it doesn't happen. When something distracts us
Yes.
or we are in a different space, we actually fall pregnant because we are more let down or our guard is down.
Yeah,
So
can happen.
maybe she did fall pregnant. But it's actually sad that her husband decided to do that
Yeah.
after 4 years. I mean, me and my husband, it was for 10 years that we tried.
Sure.
And
imagine?
I don't remember him speaking about marrying a second wife.
Yeah. No, exactly.
No,
You know?
it truly is. For me, it's the aspect of, because I'm Christian,
Yes.
and I can tell from the message, and I know her, she's also a Christian woman,
Yeah.
that it's frowned upon to marry a second wife because it's seen as an adulterous relationship.
Yeah.
So for him to put her in that position, for me, is already, in a social aspect, just isolates you.
Yeah.
Now you need to think about how are you going to, move around the circles the community,
Yeah.
and also in your faith walk with how you believe. So little bit unfair because of the fact that she's struggled to conceive, that she has to now deal with this opposition to her faith base.
Yes.
So
Yeah, and actually to think about it,
trust.
there are
It
many ladies out there who have lost their partners or their marriages because of the disease of infertility.
Yes.
It's so sad.
loss,
I could have TB and it's okay. I'm not going to lose my marriage. But with infertility, it's a big deal.
Yeah.
so what should she
And
do?
loss as well.
I don't know what to tell
I
her.
would definitely suggest that as a person, she should find out. And I'd really recommend that she starts seeing a therapist. It's
Yeah.
important because being in a marriage for 4 years where your husband wants a second wife does take a toll on you.
Yeah.
Because now she's thinking that she's the reason he's getting a second wife because she can't have kids. And what if she is pregnant?
Yes.
Is he still going to continue marrying the second wife?
Yes.
Is he going to stop? What if she miscarries? What then? Those are things that as a couple or as an individual, you need to build yourself for, deal with the mental part of things because it is important. Our mental health is important and it contributes for infertility a lot.
I think not only mental but also spiritual, because in the letter I actually didn't know that she even went to consult people outside of the faith.
Yes.
Is to try with the mental health, work on your spiritual health as well, because it's amazing what happens when evil forces and dark spirits come into our lives and we don't see the prevalence of who God is in our lives. We start to now, and I'm saying that because I feel like infertility is an evil spirit. It's not just from a physiological standpoint, but from a spiritual standpoint, it is a darker spirit that was breathed into the world, and we lose faith along the way, and then we want to seek now consort or advice from all these other things that, as a faith-based person, it speaks a lot to whether or not do you believe God to work for you in the long term, or do you believe him to work immediately? Because if you leave all things to him, he will bring things full circle in your life. And you don't need to consult a sangoma or this or that, but it speaks to the level of faith as well. So it's strengthening with the mental aspect, the spiritual relationship, and the connection you have with God in your life, and that he will bring everything to pass. Yes, it's hard to be faithful. It's very hard to be faithful, and it takes years for you to build the character to believe God for his promises.
Yeah, no, I agree. But taking it back to them, the baby deserves a mom and a dad.
Yeah,
So they need to work through their
marital issues.
now. If she is pregnant, I mean, even if she isn't. But I think that therapy is very important. And he doesn't necessarily sound like the kind of man that would willingly go to therapy.
Yeah.
But if she is pregnant, I think she needs to put her foot down and say that this, because of the loss of trust, because of you being so willing to leave the marriage or to bring somebody else into the marriage or whatever, because of children, I need to be able to trust that you will be there for me and for our child going forward. Yeah.
Because eventually the journey of being parents should be a joint kind of arrangement.
Exactly,
it's not that I'm trying to have a baby for me.
Yes.
We're trying to have a baby as a family.
Exactly.
But sadly, for ladies, you'll find that they are trying to have a baby and their husband or the partner
To save the marriage.
is actually not there. You know?
Man.
I've heard ladies who've said, my partner doesn't want to do anything. I'm the one who's doing this. I'm the one who's seeing the fertility specialist.
I'm the one
They don't
who's
even
drinking
want
the
to come to
medication.
the
I'm the one
doctor's
going to the gym.
appointment. I'm the one that's going to the gym.
I'm the one eating healthy.
Yes.
Man.
So no. I hope we've given good advice.
Yeah.
I hope she can pick up a couple of stuff that will be able to help her going forward.
I mean, it's gonna be a difficult one. I really think the therapy will help if he's willing to come with.
Yes.
And to understand that she needs to be true to herself and who she is and what she wants as a woman and as a wife, because I'm guessing that matters to her. And that's why she's still in the marriage. But ultimately to seek a lot of advice, not to be afraid to actually take the test, go see a GP just to make sure that if you are in the beginning stages of what you assume to be pregnancy, before you escalate your case to a gynecologist, and to not be afraid of the 2 lines and the pregnancy test. It is what you've been wishing for. It is what you've been dreaming about. And if he is there and he's not there, focus on the surroundings that matter. If you have a support structure, if it's family, if it's friends that are able to support you should the marriage not be able to succeed, because we have seen cases where marriages end. I'm one of those people where my marriage ended because of the failure to conceive, and to connect with a support group as well. There are many on Facebook, where I think you spoke a little bit about them, that you can connect with on WhatsApp. There are, if you follow us on, and we will share some of the social media platforms that we use. We have WhatsApp support groups where you can connect and speak to women who are just like you, who are going through the same experiences as you, and who will make the journey feel a little bit lighter. So, as a takeaway for next week's episode, I want us to go read a little bit about womb transfers. I read about that somewhere on the internet. There is this cutting edge technology.
That was unexpected.
Yes.
It's a new thing in the spaces of assisted reproductive therapy, that I read on the news that they had a successful IVF that was performed somewhere in the UK, where the woman had removed her womb and they did a womb transfer, and they had a successful baby being born from there.
Sure.
So it would be an interesting thing to talk about as a nugget.
Yes.
As a breakaway. And it's interesting how the world is developing, and things are getting more advanced in the spaces of reproductive health therapy. Just in the medical spaces, there's so many advancements that are happening. And this is a portion of our podcast where we just want to unpack on some of those things and, talk about them, to educate one another about what's happening in the world. So, but
are you going to talk about our next episodes?
Yes, no, definitely. We will.
Yes, so it's important, hey? We should also talk about the finances, eh? It's not light. Infertility is really not light on the pocket.
That is so true.
Not. We will do an episode on that for sure.
Yes, definitely.
That is so true. So
Yeah.
on our next episodes, definitely look out for us being able to unpack a lot more about the condition, infertility, some of the underlying conditions like your PCOS, like I mentioned, fibroids, endometriosis, male factor infertility, and a whole host of more interesting not just topics, but lived experiences that people have gone through infertility, and the experts that are supporting them on their journey. So to get more information about us, we do have social media pages that you can follow and see our upcoming episodes and guests that we're going to be having. You can follow us at Infertility and Me Podcast on all social media platforms, to see what it is that is upcoming on our episodes, and some of the information about awareness days that will be coming up as well, and how to connect with the people and the guests that are also on our panel.
And also, if they want to share their stories
Yes.
with us,
Yes, we are
as
here
well.
for you.
We're happy to
Yes.
share your story for
Anonymously, if you want.
Anonymously, exactly.
And send in those
Exactly.
letters, please. We'd
Yes.
love to read your letters
Definitely.
and be able to give you the best advice on how to go about your fertility journey.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
for joining us. Any last remarks, Sas?
Just please be kind to yourselves, and make sure you do go and get checked out by a fertility specialist if you are struggling to conceive. You are not alone. 1 in 6 couples will go through this. 1 in 4 across Southern Africa, like we spoke about. You are not alone. Please reach out to us as well. We are very available to help you guys via WhatsApp or phone call or anything.
Definitely.
And please get yourself checked out, both of you.
Yeah.
Well, I share the same sentiment. I definitely agree. Please reach out. We are here for you. We provide the best support. I definitely agree. So, yes, thank you for watching.
Thank you so much for joining us for this pilot episode of the Infertility and Me podcast. We really hope that this episode was able to help you understand more about infertility, its lived experiences, and what the people are going through, and how you can make a meaningful impact to somebody in your community or your family that's struggling with infertility. We look forward to seeing you again on our next episodes, and have a lovely week further. Bye.